Just minutes outside of Salinas on these beautiful rolling hills, we find a family operation known as the Schoch Family Farmstead. Here we will meet the Schoch family and take a look into their unique cheese-making process and find out why everyone is raving about the different cheeses and milk that are from our own backyard. Our first stop on property begins at the early stages with Seth and the cute calves. This is very much a family farmstead where you're all working together. Can you tell me how you work together with your brothers here to make it all happen?
Yeah, so basically, moving the cattle around and everything like that. It takes usually one person on each end moving fences. One of us might be Ty, for instance, could be watching an area where you're running the cattle through, and so just in simple daily jobs like that, we're kind of helping each other out. We make cheese at night. Usually I jump in and helping Bo finishing up and the cleaning process of the cheese making and the actual hooping of the curds. And so it's very much we kind of rely on each other to kind of make everything go around.
Seth, how many of these cute little calves do you have?
Well, right now we're raising about 15 of them in these condos where they spend while we're feeding them milk and grain. We keep them here for the first 3 months and then we wean them off and we move them around to pastured areas after this. Milking about 75, 80 cows. We actually, have overall about over 200 plus animals on the dairy.
Wow, over 200.
Yeah,
That's a lot of animals to take care of.
After it's with his mom, we usually have to bottle feed for about 4 or 5 days until we can get them trained on to drinking out of a bucket.
How much do they drink?
So they drink, we feed them twice a day and about a half gallon at a time.
That's a lot of milk.
Yeah, it comes straight out of the milk line from still warm from the cow there that we're feeding them.
Yeah.
So.
That's just the beginning for the Schoch family farmstead. And did you know that Schoch makes the only Monterey Jack cheese from Monterey County?
Monterey Jack is a truly American cheese. One of the few truly American cheeses that this recipe started here in the United States. And so it's interesting, being one of the last remaining dairies in Monterey County, that this is where Monterey Jack was first created and started.
Tell me more about the cheese making process. You've got this beautiful warm milk that's come into the vat. Then what happens?
Within about an hour, that warm milk turns into something that is more of a curd. Think of almost like a yogurt.
Sure.
And after some time of setting the milk, which you call setting the milk, I actually cut that curd, cut that coagulant. At that point, I have curds and whey. And depending on what type of cheese I'm making, I'm cutting that curd a little differently, heating it, stirring it a little bit differently. And within a couple hours, I eventually drain that whey and I pack those curds into a wheel. And now, within a few hours, I went from fresh raw milk to something that starts looking like a wheel of cheese. I would definitely recommend stopping by some of our farmers markets. So on Fridays, you could go to Monterey Peninsula College, or on Saturdays, you go to our Aptos Farmers Market.
I can see the hard work, time, and patience that is required to make cheese. But what happens to the cheese after Bo and Seth complete their wheels? Our next stop takes us to the cheese aging room. Ty, here we are in the cheese aging room at the Schoch family farmstead, and it's a very special classification to be known as a family farmstead. And I was wondering if you could explain what you have done in order to achieve that.
That's right. We are a true farmstead operation, which means that the raw material for our product, which is milk, is actually produced here on the property and is made into cheese here on the property. We kind of have a division of duties. For example, Bo is mostly concerned with making of the cheese. I'm performing the affinage, which is aging the cheese. My brother Seth and my dad John are concerned with raising cattle and milking the cows. I want them to feel like they're tasting something unique, not something that's just bought off the shelf at a big store. This is something that's it's not mass produced. It's a small artisan product, and like them to think that they're getting a little piece of the local flavor of this area.
Schoch Dairy is the true definition of a family farmstead. The cattle are beautiful and well taken care of. And the process on property is unique and unlike anything I have ever seen. It's true, happy cows are from California, and we can see why these cows are happy to be here. The Schochs were a pleasure to be around, and I want to thank them so much for making me feel so welcome on their farm.